In keeping with my recent theme of fixing broken Gibson guitars, we have a 1959 Gibson ES-125T, where the T stands for thin line. I bought this as a guitar husk, so someone has stripped all the pieces in the past because of the magic 1959 number. People will take all the hardware and try and use it for other things, and so there would have originally been a P90 pickup here. Obviously the pots are gone, the bridge is gone, the tailpiece is gone. And then when you look at it, there's quite a few other repairs that need to be made. Some of the fretboard dots are gone. The headstock was cracked at one point and still kind of flexes a little bit. The neck is separating from the back here. There's a lot of fixes that need to be made. And really, there's just, I think, a lot of grunt work here. And so I don't know how much I'm going to actually talk about this rather than just showing you kind of all the work. But at minimum, like I said, we need to fix the headstock crack. It needs to be refretted. During the previous crack, it looks like they just spray painted over the nut. So I will probably replace the nut with a bone nut. Obviously need to do some electronics, fix the back neck splitting from the body. And so after I do all that, though, I'm definitely interested in hearing what it sounds like. No, looks like a screw is broken off right here, and so got that fixed as well. And so, like I said, I don't know how much of this I'm going to actually talk through versus just kind of doing with shop sounds, but I look forward to seeing this. I have a soft spot for Gibson, jazz style guitars, and so hope you enjoy. I start off by removing the nut and the frets. This way I'll have the ability to level down the fretboard a little bit and really, clean everything up. Scoring the frets with an X-Acto knife helps them not rip out the wood when you pull out the frets, since the frets have little barbs on them that keep them in the neck. Now I'm going in and replacing the mother of pearl dots. It really doesn't take a whole lot there. They're a 1/4 inch size if I'm not mistaken. Put them in the slot, put a little bit of super glue on them, and then file them flush to the fretboard. To fix the neck and back separation, my strategy here was really just a packet full of Titebond. You can see me flexing the neck a little bit there. I'm also using a feeler gauge, which probably makes some of you car enthusiasts wince, but to be honest, I've never used a feeler gauge for its actual purpose. So you pack the glue in as far as I can get it, and then use a little bit of tape and some clamps to put it back together. The neck block and the back are actually what's separating, and so by getting glue in there and clamping everything tight, it ends up fixing the separation. Here we use a level with some self-adhesive sandpaper to just try and true up the fretboard before refretting.
Based on the impressions in the lacquer, I expected that this would have come with 3 on a plate tuners. And so I got some replacement ones from Stu Mac. As you can see, the bushings don't actually fit, so I have to spend a bit of time with a reamer to widen up the holes a little bit so that they press fit into place. Same here, I got a replacement tailpiece. It doesn't take much to install it.
This may seem like an odd step in the order of operations to string up the guitar before adding the pickups. You might also notice that I've used acoustic strings. Uh, the biggest thing I'm trying to get to here is understanding whether or not this guitar will hold under string tension at all before I spend any time making a nut, replacing the electronics and things like that. And so as it sits, the action is ridiculous. I have my gauge here. The low E string is more than 1/8 of an inch off the board. Um, same with the high E string, and so as it sits, this really isn't playable. I haven't spent any time yet trying to adjust the height of the bridge. Um, as you can see, possibly, it's already at its lowest point, and so I'll need to sand off at the bottom here. But I'm going to do that in a couple of days because I really want to see, how this guitar reacts to having strings. I bought it, without any parts, um, and there's no telling how long it might have been since there were strings on this. And so I'm going to let it sit for a good couple of days, keep stretching out the strings, keep it in tune, and then I will work to make it into a playable guitar.
Since I have, a 16th or maybe even an eighth of an inch that I need to remove from the bottom of the replacement bridge, I use my bandsaw first to take off the bulk of the material. After that, I can put some self-adhesive sandpaper on the face of the guitar and move the bridge back and forth. And what this will allow for is, sanding in the actual curve of the top, which will make the bridge fit really nicely with the top and hopefully lead to better sound transmission. Removing the sheared off screw is a bit of a pain as it was completely flush to the top. And so here I'm taking my X-Acto knife again, and my plan was to really just cut out a little square of the wood so that I could, get some of the surrounding wood out and then actually unscrew it with some pliers. I don't show it here, but before I put the pickup in, I actually glued another piece of maple, I believe, into the slot that I cut to repair the um, wood that I cut out. And with the dog ear pickup that I end up putting in place, it covers up the patch, and you don't end up seeing any of the repair. And now here we'll speed through the feeding of the electronics into a hollow body. If you've ever tried to do this, you know that it frequently just seems like a complete debacle. There's no way to really get your hands in there, and so you end up using a lot of little hacks. Like you can see me pulling on a green wire to get the output jack through the hole, and just trying to sneak my fingers in the F holes and whatnot. And so um, maybe if I ever get really proficient at this, I'll make a separate video. Um, but as you can see, I do put the electronics in and solder everything up, and you know, the guitar does make a pleasant sound. Now with a proper set of electric strings on, I can put the bridge back into its place. You can't really see it on the video, but there's indentations or discolorations where the bridge goes. And so I can fine tune that later for the intonation, but it's pretty easy to set it back in its approximate right place. Making a new nut out of bone is just a lot of sanding. You can use the prior nut as a template for the string spacing, and you know, it's really just a matter of going over it and over it until everything feels right. With a few drops of super glue, I install the nut in place, and then I put a little bit of tape down to help me with the final fitting, so that I don't file off any of the lacquer that's there. Of course, when you look at the neck, it's already pretty torn up, but I didn't want to make it worse. A little bit of fret dressing and crowning, and then we're ready to hear how this guitar sounds.
So here it is, the finished guitar. You know, a lot of work went into taking this from kind of an abandoned guitar to making it into a playable one. I think the thing I like the most about it is the thin line aspect. It feels very comfortable to just sit down on the couch and just play the guitar. It's strung with a set of 10s, electric strings, and so unamplified. I wouldn't say that it has a great acoustic tone, but you know, I could see putting on, you know, a set of say phosphor bronze 12 acoustic strings, and you know, it might actually have a decent tone. But like I said, it's a lot of fun to just sit here and strum and play. You know, but this isn't the type of guitar that you're going to be able to shred, you know, way up on the neck. You can get to the 15th fret pretty easily, and then it just becomes a function of, you know, how big your hands are. Amplified, it's really trebly, and I'm really surprised by that. I'm using a Wilkinson P90, which frankly I only picked because it was cheap. It's something like $30 on Amazon. You know, I don't know what this guitar would have sounded like, you know, in 1959, but you know, it's super trebly. I would probably maybe change the pot values if I, you know, end up playing this guitar a lot. But you know, for lightly distorted music, it probably cuts through really well. Moving the volume knob up a little bit through my Princeton reverb. It has a very pleasant tone. There's a little bit of hum because the P90 is a single coil pickup, but it's not unbearable, and if I was playing at a much louder volume, it probably wouldn't make too much of a deal. So that's it. A new bone nut, new tuners, fixing a headstock crack, new frets, putting in the missing fretboard dots, of course getting a new pickup, putting in the electronics, putting in a bridge. and gluing the neck joint back together. A lot of work, but I'm really happy on how the guitar turned out. Hope you enjoyed watching all of this. Please definitely like and subscribe if this is the type of content that you like, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks a lot.